500,000 square kilometers that has not been investigated yet. We are just, I think, looking at the edges of a mystery. We have forgotten so much more about ourselves than we remember.
Those things could literally eat a person.
Yeah.
Ever wondered if those strange, legendary creatures from old stories might have been real? Long ago, people spotted strange animals and couldn't figure them out. As tales of these mysterious creatures spread, they grew into wild legends and mythical beasts. What if I told you that some mythical beings might be real animals we still know today? Countless animal species are yet to be discovered, and many of the creatures people once saw could have been part of this hidden world. Let's get into some of these mythical creatures. Dragon. Dragons are some of the most famous mythical creatures. They come in many shapes and sizes, but most stories describe them as having reptile-like bodies, bat-like wings, and sharp claws. They're also known for breathing fire. So why do so many different cultures have stories about dragons, each with its twist on what they look like? These varied descriptions might come from real creatures that lived long ago. Early people found fossils of large, ancient reptiles and used these remains to create their dragon stories. Some of these creatures were enormous, others smaller, with different features like wings or sharp claws. But, as exciting as it sounds, none of them could breathe fire. Dragons are often seen as fearsome or magical beings in the myths of various cultures. Western stories usually picture them with wings and fire-breathing abilities, while Eastern tales describe them as wise, wingless serpents. These mythical dragons may have originated from real, ancient animals that sparked imagination and wonder. Narwhals. In the Middle Ages and Renaissance, people went crazy over unicorn horns, believing they had magical powers. But guess what? Those legendary horns were narwhal tusks. Narwhals are Arctic whales with long, twisted tusks that the Vikings hunted and sold at outrageous prices, keeping their true origin a secret. In 1577, explorer Martin Frobisher found a dead narwhal in Canada and called it a sea unicorn, later gifting the tusk to the Queen. Narwhal tusks are amazing. They are sensitive teeth with up to 10 million nerve endings. Some narwhals have one tusk, while others have none, and these spiral tusks can grow up to 10 feet long. Narwhals live in the freezing Arctic waters of Canada, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. They dive deep into the icy ocean, hunting for fish, squid, and shrimp. As narwhals age, their color changes from blue-gray to nearly white. The myth of the unicorn came from real narwhals. When explorers like Frobisher and anatomists like Tulpius saw these creatures, they mistook their tusks for magical unicorn horns, sparking the legendary tales we know today. Mermaids. Mermaids, the enchanting half-human, half-fish beings of sailor tales, have captivated imaginations for centuries. But did you know that these mythical creatures might be real, just not in the way you think? Even Christopher Columbus claimed to have spotted 3 mermaids on his voyage to America, though he said they had some masculine traits. Strange, right? It turns out that the so-called mermaids Columbus and others saw were manatees, or their close relatives, dugongs, giant, gentle sea creatures also known as sea cows. These marine mammals can grow up to 6 feet long, about human size. With their flippers that resemble human hands, the ability to turn their necks, and their fish-like tails, it's easy to see how sailors might mistake them for mermaids. While not as magical as the legends, these real-life mermaids still inspire wonder about the ocean's mysteries. Unicorns. Unicorns, those magical horses with a single horn, have always been the stuff of legends. But what if I told you they were real? Well, sort of. The myth's unicorns might have been inspired by something much less graceful, a rhinoceros. Take the Siberian unicorn, for instance. This creature wasn't a sleek, elegant horse, but a massive 4-ton beast with a huge horn in its head. It lived in Eurasia, around 39,000 years ago, long before it went extinct. Unlike the gentle unicorns of fairy tales, this rhino was tough and probably quite mean. Thankfully, it preferred to snack on shrubs rather than humans, though you wouldn't want to get too close. Sea serpent. The sea serpent, a terrifying creature of legend, has haunted sailors' imaginations for centuries. Their monstrous snakefish hybrid, slithering through the waves with a horse-like head, rising in massive humps from the deep. Tales of these beasts were told across cultures, painting them as the terror of the seas. But what if these stories had a grain of truth? The so-called sea serpent might be the oarfish. This real-life fish looks eerily like a snake, stretching up to 30 feet, making it the longest bony fish in the ocean. Unlike the fierce creature of legend, the oarfish is a gentle giant, feeding on small marine creatures like krill. It lives deep underwater, so we know very little about it, but its size and unusual appearance were likely enough to inspire the fearful tales of sea serpents that spread across the world. Yeti, abominable snowman.
He says he is proof that the Yeti, the abominable snowman of the Himalayas, is in fact real and its descendants are alive.
High in the icy peaks of the Himalayas, legends tell of the Yeti, a mysterious creature often called the abominable snowman. It is a massive, ape-like being standing tall with thick fur as white as snow, or sometimes brown or gray, blending perfectly into the frozen wilderness. Locals and explorers alike have whispered about this elusive beast for centuries, claiming to see its giant footprints in the snow or catching a glimpse of a shadowy figure moving through the mist. The Yeti is said to be both human and beast, with a broad, muscular build and a face that's part ape, part man. Some say it's as tall as 9 feet, with a forehead and a nose that give it a strangely familiar look. While sightings have been reported by climbers on Mount Everest and beyond, hard evidence remains as elusive as the creature itself. Yet, the tales persist, fueling the mystery of this legendary mountain dweller. Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Bigfoot, the legendary giant creature that haunts North America's forests, has captivated explorers and adventurers for centuries. Stories of this massive, hairy beast date back to ancient times, with reports of enormous footprints and mysterious sightings. Some say Bigfoot roams the Pacific Northwest, standing between 6 and 15 feet tall, with a strong smell and eerie cries that echo through the woods. But could Bigfoot be more than just a myth? Scientific evidence suggests that people might have seen a gorilla, not a mythical monster. Gorillas, first identified in 1847, could have been mistaken for Bigfoot in the dense forests. These huge, powerful animals could have inspired tales of the elusive Sasquatch. Though most scientists dismiss Bigfoot as a legend, the stories of this wild giant continue to fascinate and intrigue. Werewolf, a horrible creature that transforms from a man into a wolf on moonlit nights. This is the stuff of werewolf legends. In European folklore, werewolves are humans who change into fearsome wolves or wolf-like beings under the spell of a full moon or by a curse. These creatures might be able to shift shapes at will or be cursed to change against their will. In wolf form, they are considered fierce predators, preying on animals, people, or even corpses. But the twist is, if a werewolf is hurt while in wolf form, those wounds also appear on its human body, revealing its secret. While some stories show werewolves as mindless beasts, older tales often describe them as intelligent and cunning. Whether driven by magic or a curse, the werewolf remains one of folklore's most chilling and captivating figures. Vampire deer, a creature that seems like it stepped out of a dark fairy tale. Yes, it's vampire deer. Officially called the water deer, this small animal from Korea and China has sharp, fang-like tusks instead of antlers, giving it its chilling nickname. These tusks look like long, sharp canine teeth. But despite their spooky appearance, vampire deer don't drink blood or pose any threat to humans. Standing just 2 to 3 feet tall, these deer are small but fascinating. Their unique tusks help them in their habitat, but they're not the bloodsuckers their name suggests. Their bodies are stocky, with powerful hind legs that give them a hoppy, almost bunny-like movement across the land. Male vampire deer use their tusks to compete for mates and protect themselves from threats. Although their tusks can cause serious injuries, fights usually don't end in death. These deer are named for their love of watery places, such as rivers and swamps, and they're excellent swimmers, able to cover 7 miles without stopping. Despite their eerie look, they adapt perfectly to their environment and continue to thrive. Chupacabra, a strange creature that could be straight from a legend. In Latin American folklore, this monster is known for attacking animals and drinking their blood. The name Chupacabra means goatsucker, a hint of its eerie habits. The most common description of the Chupacabra is a reptile-like beast with scaly, greenish-gray skin and sharp spines running down its back. It's said to stand about 3 to 4 feet tall and move like a kangaroo. Another version is a hairless, wild, dog-like creature with a pronounced spine and fierce features. However, many of these so-called chupacabras are just animals with mange, which causes severe hair loss. Biologists have identified these unfortunate creatures as coyotes or dogs with this disease. Kraken.
It might sound like the stuff of legend, but this creature really did exist around 75 million years ago.
The Kraken, a terrifying sea monster from Scandinavian folklore, was said to lurk off the coasts of Norway and Greenland, waiting to destroy ships with its massive, tentacled arms. Sailors of old believed they had seen this mythical beast, but what they likely encountered was something very real: the giant squid. With its legendary ability to sink ships and drag crews to their doom, the Kraken is one of the most fearsome creatures ever imagined. It was described as a giant octopus-like creature that could create deadly whirlpools. But in reality, the Kraken was likely inspired by the giant squid, a deep-sea creature that can grow up to 18 meters long. In 1853, the giant squid became more than just a legend when its remains washed up on a beach in Denmark. Though far less dangerous than the stories suggest, the giant squid is still a mysterious and powerful creature, living in the deep ocean where few have ever seen it. Rhinoceros. Rhinos once roamed vast areas across Europe, Asia, and Africa, and early humans knew them well. Some even drew them in ancient cave paintings. At the start of the 20th century, there were around 500,000 rhinos in Africa and Asia, but by 1970, their numbers had dropped to just 70,000. Today, only about 27,000 remain in the wild, mostly in national parks and reserves, as poaching and habitat loss have driven them to the brink. These mighty creatures are some of the last remaining giants on Earth. With all adult rhinos weighing over a ton, they have thick, protective skin and are known for their iconic horns, which unfortunately make them targets for poachers. Rhinos mainly eat leaves, but can munch on tougher plants when needed. Interestingly, the two African species don't have front teeth. They use their lips to grab food instead. Tragically, because of poaching, most rhino species are now endangered. Platypus. In 1789, Captain John Hunter of the Royal Navy stumbled upon something so bizarre that he couldn't believe his eyes: a platypus pelt. He sent sketches back to Britain, but no one believed such a creature could exist. The idea of a duck-billed, beaver-tailed, egg-laying mammal seemed like a wild fantasy. English zoologist George Shaw was convinced it had to be a hoax, possibly some clever trick. But the platypus is very real and only found in Australia. This fascinating animal has the beak of a duck, the body of a beaver, and webbed feet like an otter. If that wasn't strange enough, the male platypus is one of the few venomous mammals with sharp stingers on its hind feet to defend against predators. Despite once being hunted for its fur, the platypus is now a protected species, though it faces threats from habitat destruction and pollution, making its future uncertain. Thunderbird. The thunderbird is a legendary bird-like spirit in Native American cultures, known for its immense power and strength. This mythical creature appears prominently in the art, songs, and stories of many tribes from the Pacific Northwest coast to the American Southwest, East Coast, Great Lakes, and Great Plains. According to legend, the thunderbird makes thunder by flapping its wings and creates lightning with its eyes. It's often seen as a majestic bird of prey or a blend of human and bird. Thunderbirds are seen as protectors who help people, but also demand respect, prayers, and gifts. Petroglyphs of thunderbirds can be found near Twin Bluffs, Wisconsin, dating back to around 250 BCE. While it's a staple in North American myths, similar bird spirits are found in Africa, Asia, and Europe, often linked to the woodpecker. Pegasus. Pegasus is a legendary winged horse from ancient Greek mythology, often shown as a dazzling white stallion. Born from the blood of the Gorgon Medusa after she was slain by the hero Perseus, Pegasus was the offspring of the sea god Poseidon and Medusa. He shares his lineage with Chrysaor, another creature born from the same event. Pegasus stands out in Greek myths, not only for his horse-like body, but also for his magnificent wings, making him a symbol of both beauty and magic. Despite being linked to Poseidon, the sea god, Pegasus's creation was inspired by the flowing waves, which resembled a horse's mane. His name, Pegasus, might come from ancient Greek words meaning fountain or spring, referencing his extraordinary origins. Basilisk. In ancient myths, the basilisk, or cockatrice, was a terrifying serpent with a deadly gaze that could destroy anything it looked at. Today's basilisk is a real lizard with a dramatic twist. It sports a big inflatable crest on its head and is known for its remarkable ability to run across water. This real-life basilisk, sometimes called the Jesus Christ lizard, lives near streams and uses its speed and special toes to dash over water without sinking. The younger and lighter ones are the most likely to be seen sprinting across the surface. Besides its impressive running, the basilisk is also a strong swimmer, able to stay underwater for up to 30 minutes. With its unique traits, the real basilisk brings a touch of ancient legend to life. Leviathans. The Leviathan is a legendary sea monster from old tales. It's often shown as a giant, terrifying sea serpent or creature of chaos. But what if there's truth behind the legend? The name Leviathan comes from the Hebrew word for a massive sea serpent. In real life, giant sea creatures, like the colossal squid discovered in 2005, might have inspired these stories. The squid can grow up to 40 feet long, making it a true giant of the deep. In addition, the Titanic, a colossal ship of its time, is sometimes called a leviathan for its sheer size. Ancient people might have seen the fossils of giant sea reptiles or giant squids and thought they were dealing with sea monsters. Other theories suggest that big whales or strange sea phenomena could have sparked the tales of these mighty sea beasts. Sailors' tall tales and misidentifications also added to the Leviathan's mystique. Glaucus atlanticus. The Glaucus atlanticus, also known as the blue sea dragon or blue angel, is a mesmerizing sea slug with an otherworldly appearance. It floats in the open ocean upside down, using the water's surface tension to stay afloat. Its striking blue top blends perfectly with the ocean, while its silver-gray underside matches the sunlight reflecting off the water. This tiny creature preys on dangerous animals, like the Portuguese man of war. It absorbs their stinging cells, becoming a tiny living weapon. If disturbed, the Glaucus atlanticus can deliver a painful and dangerous sting to anyone handling it. Named after the Greek sea deity Glaucus, this sea slug's vivid color and clever camouflage make it both a marvel and a mystery of the deep. Tardigrade. Tardigrades, or water bears, are tiny, eight-legged creatures resembling adorable miniature bears. These microscopic marvels are found worldwide, from ocean depths to dry dunes. They live in damp environments like moss and lichens, earning them the nickname moss piglets. Remarkably tough, tardigrades can survive almost anything. They've been to outer space and can endure temperatures from nearly 0 to boiling. They can even go without food or water for up to 30 years. Their secret? A special protein called D-ZUP that shields their deoxyribonucleic acid from harm. With their tough outer shell and tiny claws, tardigrades cling to plants and sip nutrients, making them one of nature's most resilient and fascinating creatures. Superb bird of paradise. The superb bird of paradise is a real-life creature that looks like it stepped out of a fairy tale. This stunning bird, native to Indonesia, New Guinea, and parts of Australia, is famous for its incredible appearance. The male is all black, with long, flowing cape feathers that serve as a backdrop for his dazzling blue chest feathers. During courtship, he spreads these feathers in a dramatic display, showing off his iridescent shield to attract a mate. Females are much plainer, with brown feathers, and young males look like females until they mature and grow their vibrant plumage. When the breeding season begins, the male's spectacular dance and feather display are meant to impress and win over the female. This bird's colorful and elaborate appearance makes it a true marvel of nature. Thorny devil. The thorny devil is a real lizard from Australia that looks like something out of a fantasy. Known by names like the mountain devil or thorny dragon, this lizard is covered in sharp, spiky scales that make it look like a tiny dragon. It's about 8 inches long, and its spiky skin helps protect it from predators. The thorny devil's fake head on its neck is a clever trick, a soft, spiky lump that confuses predators when the lizard tucks its real head down. This lizard walks slowly, moving its tail up and down, which might also help it escape notice. Its colors blend with the desert sands, changing from light to dark, depending on the temperature. The thorny devil is a real-life marvel of nature, with its dragon-like appearance and smart defenses. Red uakari. The bold uakari is a small, eye-catching monkey from the Amazon rainforest. With a head so bare, it looks almost mythical, these primates sport striking red faces and a long, shaggy coat in shades from reddish-brown to orange. They live in South America's lush, water-rich forests, and though their tails are short, they move with surprising agility through the trees. Bold uakaris are social creatures, living in large troops of up to 100 members, though they break into smaller groups to forage for food during the day. Their diet mainly consists of fruit, but also munch on leaves and insects. These monkeys have strong jaws capable of cracking Brazil nuts, and often search the ground for fallen seeds and roots during dry spells. Sadly, these unique monkeys face threats from habitat destruction and hunting. They reproduce slowly, with only one baby every 2 years, making their survival even more precarious. Giant squid. The giant squid, once considered a sailor's tall tale, is a real and astonishing creature. This sea monster can grow up to 43 feet long, with tentacles stretching like something straight out of a nightmare. Imagine a creature the size of a school bus drifting through the ocean's dark depths. Despite their massive size, giant squids are rarely seen. They live so deep underwater that human encounters are extremely rare. Most of what we know comes from dead squids washed ashore or accidentally caught by fishermen. Found in oceans worldwide, giant squids are especially common near New Zealand, the Pacific Islands, and along the Atlantic coasts. The largest ever discovered was an incredible 59 feet long and weighed almost a ton. Their eyes are the biggest in the animal kingdom, nearly 10 inches across, helping them see in pitch-black waters. As we wrap up our adventure into mythical creatures that might have been real, let's pause and appreciate the incredible stories these legends hold. From the mighty leviathans to the elusive giant squid, these creatures whispered through the records of history, blending fact with fantasy. They remind us of a time when people's imaginations ran wild with the wonders of the unknown. These myths likely began with real animals that were so extraordinary that they inspired tales of magic and mystery. As we close this chapter, we're left with the thrilling possibility that the world still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. What other mythical creatures might have a root of truth hidden in their stories? Share your thoughts and favorite creatures in the comments below. or tell us which mythical creature you'd love to explore next. Stay with us as we dig deeper into the truth behind the myths and uncover more of the world's hidden wonders. Until next time, keep your sense of wonder alive and your curiosity boundless. And in the last, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel.